Welcome to another game week for the English Premier League. I hope you had a wonderful week so far. And let's hope for a good winnings continue into this week. And alright, so let's head straight into it. We're going to start with Everton versus Liverpool. This is the Merseyside derby. And based on how Everton have been this season so far, defensively they have been tight. So therefore I expect Liverpool to win here. But in terms of number of goals, I'm going to say we're going to have less than 3 goals in this one. Back to main bet. Both teams to score, I'd say no. In terms of a double chance, I'd say Everton or Liverpool to win and both teams not. Predicted scoreline, I'm expecting Liverpool to win this one 2-0 or 1-0. Yeah. So my predictions for this game, Everton versus Liverpool, this game being played at Goodison Park. I'm expecting Liverpool to win. I'm expecting under 2.5 goals. I'm expecting both teams not to score. And in terms of a double chance, I'd say Everton or Liverpool to win and both teams not to score. My predicted scoreline is 2-0 in favor of Liverpool. Also, in terms of goal scorers, as you know, usually I'll go with anytime goal scorers. For me, it's Nemo P starts, he can score. Demarai Gray can also score for Everton as well. Anthony Gordon, he has been having a good go so far. Let's see what happens on deadline day, which is today. Don't know if he's going to be transferred to Chelsea, so that depends. In terms of Liverpool side of the coin now, Darwin Núñez should be back, though I doubt he'll be starting though, because Firmino have done well in his absence, and so he might be starting from the bench. Jota is not 100% as yet. Luis Diaz is also there, always there. Salah is always there, and also you have young Elliott. So any of those guys can score, but for me, I would go ahead and I'd say my anytime goal scorer. I would have my anytime goal scorer to be Luis Diaz, and that's because outside of Salah, he's the most busiest player around that area. Now, mind you, Firmino plays for the most part as the main striker whenever he's playing, but it's like a front three, yeah. Well, you have Salah on one wing and Diaz on another. But anyways, Diaz is my anytime goal scorer. So those are my predictions for the Everton versus Liverpool game. And so we're going to head straight into our next game, which is Brentford versus Leeds. This game being played at Brentford. I'm expecting Brentford to win here. Leeds seem to be going backwards in a sense. Not backwards, not the right term, but they seem to have slowed up somewhat. And so therefore I expect Brentford to win this game. Both teams score, I'd say yes. And in terms of a double chance, I would go with Brentford or Leeds to win and both teams to score. My predicted scoreline for this game, I'm saying that Brentford should win this one 3-1. And on the handicap system, if you don't want to bet the correct scores, you can always go on the handicap system. Don't want to bet the correct score and bet for Brentford to win by a goal, alright? In terms of possible goal scorers for this game, it's the usual suspects: Ivan Toney, as well Wissa, the super sub, and also Mbumo as well. And if he starts, the Silva seems to have gone off boil a bit, so those are the guys who could possibly pop in a goal for Brentford at any point during this game. For Leeds now, we have Brentford. He came back the last game, he could score as well. Brandon Aronson could score. Rodrigo is out. Those are the two guys. Also, Jack Harrison can score as well. So it depends if Matthias Klick gets enough time in the game, he could also score. But my anytime goal scorer for this game, I'm going to go with Mbumo. He's due a goal. He hasn't scored for some time, so I'm going to have him as my anytime goal scorer. My predictions for the Brentford versus Leeds game, I'm expecting Brentford to win. I'm expecting both teams to score. In terms of a double chance, I'd say Brentford or Leeds to win and both teams to score. In terms of my score line, I'm predicting 3-1 in favor for Brentford. And on the handicap system, you can go with Brentford to win by a goal if you don't want to win the correct score. My anytime goal scorer for this game, I'm saying Brian Mbumo. Alright, and so let's head straight into our next game, which is about that. Got this. My next game will be Chelsea versus West Ham. This one is at Stamford Bridge, and this game I think is going to end in a draw. Yeah, so I'm predicting that this game is going to end in a draw. Both teams to score, I'd say yes, based on how Chelsea have been playing. They can't seem to keep a goal out, yeah. And so in terms of a double chance, I'll say Chelsea or West Ham to win on both teams to score. Predicted scoreline, I have this one ending 1-1. And so my possible goal scorers for this game, the usual suspect, Raheem Sterling for Chelsea, Kai Havertz if he starts, Mason Mount, yes, those guys. If we get a penalty, then Jorginho is almost guaranteed to score a goal. And for West Ham, their Gianni Luca could also score if he starts. Gerard Bowen as well, Saeed Benarama, Maxwell Carney could set up a goal or two if he starts. Suchek, as I say, always has a goal in him. For the last game, I don't think he'll be scoring this one though. Would be surprised if he does. But my anytime goal scorer for this game, I am going to go with my anytime goal scorer. I'm going to go with Raheem Sterling. So my predictions for the Chelsea versus West Ham game, I'm expecting this game to end in a draw. I'm expecting both teams to score. In terms of double chance, I'd say Chelsea or West Ham to win and both teams to score, yes. The predicted scoreline, I'm saying 1-1. My anytime goal scorer here, I'm going with Raheem Sterling. So those are my predictions for the Chelsea versus West Ham game. And we're going to head straight into our next game, which is, let's just jump straight into it, Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. And this one is at home for Newcastle. They have, after a fair enough start, they took the lead against Liverpool last game, like most teams have done against Liverpool since the start of this season. But Liverpool came back and won. Here I'm expecting them to return to winning ways, and so therefore I'm expecting them to beat Crystal Palace here. Crystal Palace, they are doing well there, but they have an issue. They can't seem to hold the lead or keep a lead. They won the game that they played recently, so yeah, that's good, that's fine. But I think Newcastle playing how they have been playing, they're more consistent than Crystal Palace so far, and so therefore hence the reason why I'm giving them wins. Newcastle to win. Both teams to score, I would say yes. And in terms of a double chance, I would go with either team to win and both to score. My predicted scoreline for this one, I am saying Newcastle to win this one 2-1. Alright, in terms of the handicap system, you can always go and bet for Newcastle to win by a goal. If you don't want to bet the correct score, my anytime goal scorers here, I'm going to go with Bruno Guimaraes is there a goal also, and Miguel Almiron is there as well as Joe Willock. Those guys can score. Isak scored his first in the last game. In terms of Crystal Palace, Wilfried Zaha is always there. Mateta if he starts, and Eze also. Those guys can score a goal. Elise, he's going to see a few opportunities, so he could put away one as well. But my anytime goal scorer for this game, I am going to go with Wilfried Zaha for this game. He's in good scoring form, and I would be surprised if he continues scoring. My prediction for Newcastle versus Crystal Palace game, I'm expecting Newcastle to win. Expecting both teams to score. In terms of a double chance, I'd say Newcastle or Crystal Palace to win and both teams to score, yes. My predicted scoreline is 2-1 in favor of Newcastle. Anytime goal scorer, I would go with Wilfried Zaha. And on the handicap system, I would say Newcastle to win by a goal. Alright, so those are my predictions for the game. We're going to head into our next game, which is Nottingham Forest versus Bournemouth. To a poor start, Nottingham Forest that is, I think they want to stay up in the league based on the amount of signings they have made. And based on my assumption here, I think this goes has maybe about 5 more games. If it doesn't improve the team in a sense, but if they don't start getting better results, I think it might be sacked, just like Bournemouth. Alright then, so my predictions for this game, I am expecting here Nottingham Forest to win. They're playing better football than Bournemouth, but Nottingham Forest to win. If they don't win, then it's going to end in a draw. That's my opinion. But I'm picking Nottingham Forest to win here. And the idiot and the coach knows that, and so they're going to have to work towards that, yeah? So Nottingham Forest to win. In terms of double chance, I would say Nottingham Forest are both going to win and both teams not to score. Henderson is not easy to get past, so it's not going to be easy. I'm saying 2-0 for Nottingham Forest. In terms of anytime goal scorers, the usual suspects, I have here Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson is one. Lingard didn't play the last game, but if he starts this game, he's always in with a shot. Gibbs White, always around the box, he can score as well. Those are the guys for Nottingham Forest for me. Dominic Solanke should be back. He's back, and so he can always score as well. And it depends. I'm not sure if Kiefer Moore is going to start this game. He didn't start the last one, and so he can score as well. So, but my anytime goal scorer in this game now, I'm going to go with Brennan Johnson. Alright, I'm going to go with Johnson. So that guy is my anytime goal scorer for this game. So my predictions for the Nottingham Forest versus Portland game, I'm expecting Nottingham Forest to win. In terms of a double chance, I'd say Nottingham Forest or Portland to win and both teams not to score. My predicted scoreline is 2-0 in favor of Nottingham Forest. My anytime goal scorer is Brennan Johnson for this game. Alright, so we're going to jump along to our next game, which is Tottenham Hotspurs versus Fulham. This one being at Spurs home. Expecting Spurs to win here, and I'm expecting in terms of goals, I'm expecting under 3.5 goals. Alright, in terms of a double chance, I would say Spurs or Fulham to win and both teams to score. Mitrovic is in good scoring form and he tends to provide those options. In terms of a predicted scoreline, I'm saying 2-1 in favor of Fulham. Heading over to goal scorer now, it's the usual suspect: Harry Kane, Son Heung-min, Dejan Kulusevski, Richarlison. Depends on the amount of time he gets, he can score as well. And let's go down to Fulham. In terms of Fulham, it's Mitrovic and Mitrovic. I'd say in terms of Fulham, it's Mitrovic for me. I'm expecting Fulham to get a lot of opportunities to score again, but man, you never know. So therefore, my predicted goal scorer for this game, I am going to go with Son Heung-min, my anytime goal scorer. So my predictions for the Tottenham Hotspurs versus Fulham game, I'm expecting my predictions for this game. Let's take it from the top. I'm expecting Hotspurs to win here. Expecting under 4 goals for this game, 3.5. And in terms of double chance, I'd say Hotspurs or Fulham to win on both teams to score. My predicted scoreline is 2-1 in favor of Spurs. And in terms of my anytime goal scorer, I'm saying Son Heung-min. Otherwise, Harry Kane is there, Mitrovic is there, Richarlison is there, depending on the amount of time he gets, and Kulusevski as well. You never know, Perisic might pop up to and score a goal, you never know. Alright then, but these are my predictions for the Hotspurs versus Fulham game. So we're going to tog along onto our next game, which is Wolverhampton versus Southampton. Wolverhampton not the easiest team to score against whenever they are playing at home. They haven't been scoring much, mind you, but Southampton seems to have been finding some goals nowadays. They beat Chelsea at home the last game, so they're on a high. But the thing is, Southampton they're not very consistent. They're not consistent, and that's their issue here. And based on the head-to-head in the last 5, Wolves have won 3. And so as a result of this, I'm going to have this game ended in a draw. Alright, it could go either way in my opinion, so I'm going to have this in a draw. In terms of a double chance, I would go and say Wolverhampton or Southampton win on both teams to score. Predicted scoreline for me, I'm saying 1-1. Anytime goal scorer. Anytime goal scorer for me, I have Pedro, you have Prudence, you have Jimenez. Yes, any of those guys can score. Ruben Neves, any of those guys could pop up and score. Moutinho haven't scored a goal in a while. He could score as well. Che Adams, yes, I think he should start this game, and I think he score as well. If we get some good free kicks, I will get some opportunities. James Ward-Prowse can score as well. Alright, Mohamed El Gimisi can score as well. Any amount of time he gets, yeah, can score. And as I say, Walker Peters providing the box there, so you never know. But my anytime goal scorer for this game, I am going to go with Raúl Jiménez. Alright, he's due a goal, and if he gets the start, he'll have opportunities, I believe, to score a goal. So my predictions for the Wolverhampton versus Southampton game, I'm expecting that this game should end in a draw. In terms of a double chance, I'd say Wolverhampton or Southampton to win. and both teams to score. In terms of my score line, I'm seeing 1 goal apiece, 1-1 draw here. And in terms of anytime goal score, I have gone with Raúl Jiménez. Alright, so those are my predictions for that game. So we're going to talk along right into the next game, which is Aston Villa versus Manchester City, the high-flying Manchester City, coming off a 6-0 win against Nottingham Forest. Managed to put a number of goals past Henderson, which has not been the case this season so far. So we know that Manchester City is capable of doing such things. But Aston Villa, after a very poor start, very inconsistent. I don't know. I think the coach is in a pressure cooker right now in somewhat. And so therefore, for this game, I'm saying I'm going to expect City to win here. Both teams to score, I'd say no. In terms of a double chance, I say Aston Villa or City to win and both teams not to score. Predicted scoreline for me for this game, I'm going to have City winning this game 3-0. Alright. In terms of expected goal scorers, it depends here. I did not expect, Haaland played. Didn't expect him to play, but he did play. But if he plays, he's always on the list of possible goal scorers. Well, let's start with Aston Villa. Possible goal scorers: Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings for me. And Leon Bailey has a goal in him, depends on the amount of times you get. And also Bondia, Coutinho as well. Those guys, they have goals in them. Alright, and for the Manchester City side of the ball, you have Erling Haaland, you have Julian Alvarez, and Riyad Mahrez, depending if he gets the time, that is Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, and Gundogan, and Bernardo Silva. All those guys could possibly score for me, I believe. But for this game, I am going to go with my anytime goal scorer to be Phil Foden. Phil Foden is going to be my anytime goal scorer, yeah. Phil Foden is going to be my anytime goal scorer. My predictions for the Manchester City versus Aston Villa game. This game being played at Aston Villa's home. Expecting Manchester City to win. Both teams not to score. In terms of a double chance, I'd say Aston Villa and Manchester City to win and both teams not to score. Predicted scoreline, I'm saying 3-0 here for Manchester City. And my anytime goal scorer is Phil Foden. Alright, so those are my predictions for that particular game. So let's jump on over to the next game, which is Brighton versus Leicester. Brighton, another team that's doing very well at home, and the Leicester, they are struggling. And so I don't favor them to win here. If they can pick themselves up, I think they could get a draw here, because Brighton have managed to score much at home, but they are scoring though. They are improving little by little, and so hence here I'm going to go with this one being in a draw. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, so both teams to score. And in terms of a double chance, I would say either team to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline 1-1. Possible goal scorers for me, Jamie Vardy always has a goal in him. Alright, but for Brighton side of the ball, you have Danny Welbeck, you have Trossard, and you have Pascal Gross, along with the other guys, the defenders and all of those. They can always come up with a goal. But let's see the Vardy are thing there. So let's see what happens here. So sorry about that. Let's head back into this. All right then. My predictions for the Brighton versus Leicester game, have here a draw. And in terms of, I'm expecting both teams to win. And in terms of a double chance, I'd say Brighton or Leicester to win and both teams to score, yes. And I'm expecting, my predicted scoreline is 1-1. In terms of my anytime goal scorer, I would say Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck would be my anytime goal scorer here for this game. Alright. So we're going to tag along over on to our next game. Alright. Which is Manchester United versus Arsenal. This game being played at Old Trafford. Expecting a fair enough result here for both teams. I think this is where Arsenal might end up dropping their first set of points for the season. However, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Manchester United. But I'm going to go with goals here. I'm going to say under 4 goals, and expecting both teams to score, I would say no. Alright. In terms of a double chance, I would say both teams to score and either to win. Yes, you go with that. In terms of a scoreline, I would say a 2-all draw. Alright. It's a 2-all draw. In terms of goal scorers, the usual suspects. Cristiano seems to be on the back burner now. I'm not going to pick him among my anytime. Well, if he comes and get enough time, he can score a goal. Rashford depends. If he plays, he can get a goal as well. Anton depends on the amount of time he could create something. Bruno Fernandes as well could create something. Ericsson as well. And for Arsenal, we have the usual suspect: Gabriel Jesus, Saka, Smith with the super sub from last season, Martinelli, and Odegaard. All of those guys could score a goal. Alright, but my anytime goal scorer for this game, I'm going to go with Gabriel Jesus. With that odds and the amount of goals that he has been scoring, he's going to be my anytime goal scorer. So my predictions for the Manchester United versus Arsenal game, I'm expecting under 3.5 goals. In terms of both teams scoring, I'm saying no. In terms of a double chance, I'd say Manchester United or Arsenal is winning both teams to score, yeah. My predicted scoreline is a 2-all draw, and my anytime goal scorer is Gabriel Jesus. Alright, those are my predictions for that game. And so therefore, that's where the cookie crumbles for this week, this game week for the English League. And so I wish you happy betting and best of luck. Continue to watch my videos and share. Thank you very much. Alright, and thank you for your support.